Welcome to the Explainer. This is ACIM Lesson 85, reviewing lessons 69 and 70. Today, we're unpacking a really powerful review section from A Course in Miracles that takes two profound, life-altering concepts and puts them right into our daily practice. If you've ever felt bogged down by everyday frustrations, or if you feel like you're constantly chasing peace in all the wrong places, well, the material we're diving into today is going to completely shift your perspective. So our review today centers directly on these two foundational statements. First, Lesson 69, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. And second, Lesson 70, my salvation comes from me. These two sentences alone act as a complete roadmap for shifting how we interact with the world and how we manage our own inner state. We're going to break down exactly what the source text means here and, more importantly, how you can actively use them as tools in your own mind. All right, let's look at Lesson 69, releasing grievances. Okay, let's dive into this first concept. We all carry them, right? Little annoyances, massive resentments, they definitely build up. A grievance is a grudge, a spark of anger, or a lingering resentment. And the text explicitly states that our grievances show us what is not there and hide from us what we would actually want to see. Think of it quite literally as a blindfold. When you hold on to a resentment, you are keeping yourself in the dark. You're blocking your own vision, choosing to see a distorted, frustrating illusion instead of reality. The text asks a really great question here. Recognizing this, what do I want my grievances for? And this brings us to a beautiful quote directly from the lesson, which highlights the mechanics of how our minds work. It reads, grievances and light cannot go together, but light and vision must be joined for me to see. You simply cannot hold on to a grievance and experience the light at the exact same time. They're mutually exclusive. If you want the light of the world, which we can understand here as our immense inner capacity for clarity, peace, and joy, you have to make a conscious choice. To see clearly, the text insists, we must lay our grievances aside. It's absolutely crucial for true vision. And this brilliantly illustrates how the Course wants us to make this theory highly practical. It gives us specific applications. When you feel a grievance bubbling up, maybe you're stuck in awful traffic, or you're reading a really tough passive-aggressive email, you can use these exact phrases. Stop for a second and tell yourself, let me not use this as a block to sight. Or the light of the world will shine all this away. Or simply, and perhaps most powerfully, I have no need for this. I want to see. By actively saying these words, you are choosing to reach up and take that blindfold off in that exact moment. Moving on to Lesson 70, Inner Salvation. So we just talked about the problem, the blindfold of our grievances. Now we transition into the solution phase of our narrative. If taking off the blindfold is the first step, this next lesson is all about discovering where our true compass is actually located. Now, salvation is a word that can carry a lot of heavy religious baggage for some folks, so let's translate it into an accessible psychological concept for our purposes here. We can define it clearly as your inner peace, your ultimate happiness, and your fundamental freedom. The text teaches that this salvation is exclusively found within you because its source is right there inside you. It beautifully notes that it has not left its source, and therefore it literally cannot have left your mind. Your peace is always perfectly intact, sitting right there under the surface. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between how we normally operate and what the text suggests. We constantly try to find peace in external fixes. We think, if I get a better job, or if my partner changes their behavior, or if I go on vacation, then I'll be happy. We try to find it outside and drag it inward. But the lesson completely flips this paradigm. It says salvation is absolutely not found outside and then brought in. Instead, we must look inside. When we tap into the peace within us, it reaches beyond us, and everything we see in the external world merely reflects the light that is already shining inside. So, how do we apply this massive shift in thinking? The text provides three powerful grounding phrases for this lesson. Let this not tempt me to look away from me for my salvation. Next, I will not let this interfere with my awareness of the source of my salvation. And finally, this has no power to remove salvation from me. Think of these phrases as a calming coach whispering in your ear. Whenever an external situation or a stressful person threatens your peace, these phrases firmly remind you that absolutely no outside force has the power to take away your inner peace unless you willingly hand over the keys. Next up, let's look at daily practice and application. Knowing the theory is wonderful, for sure, but directly applying it is where the real psychological transformation happens. Let's look at exactly how to weave these two profound texts together into the messy, unpredictable reality of your daily life. Now, the source text doesn't dictate a rigid hourly schedule for today's review. Instead, it asks us to be highly responsive to our own minds. So, the crucial point is to actively run through these 3 simple steps every single time a block to cite arises throughout your day. Step 1. Notice a grievance or a temptation to seek peace externally. Awareness is everything. Just catch yourself. Step 2. Pause. Stop the momentum of that frustration dead in its tracks. Step 3. Recite one of the specific application phrases we just reviewed. It acts as a real-time reset button, pulling you out of darkness and back into the light, as many times a day as you need it. Finally, let's jump into our final takeaways. We're wrapping up now, and I want to bring everything we've discussed today into sharp, memorable focus. We've explored the heavy blindfold of our grievances and the internal, unbreakable compass of our own salvation. Here are our 2 anchoring thoughts once again. Lesson 69, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. And Lesson 70, my salvation comes from me. By consciously recognizing what these statements mean together, you realize that when you discard the darkness of a grievance, you are simply removing the block that was hiding your own light. And once that block is gone, your own inner salvation can finally shine outward, transforming how you perceive absolutely everything around you. So I want to leave you with a challenge for the rest of your day, a question to really hold on to. The next time you feel frustration bubbling up, or someone cuts you off, or things just don't go your way, ask yourself, will you choose to keep the blindfold on today, or will you look inward to find your light? Remember, the choice and the salvation is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this breakdown helpful and you enjoyed learning through this structured format, please make sure to like this explainer and subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing a lot more of these structured, insightful explainers in the future, continuing to unpack complex ideas efficiently, one slide at a time. Have a wonderful, light-filled day.